Guys, give me a second. Why do I hear myself 2 times now? Oh. Excuse me. Just gonna make sure that the chat and everything's set up here. I did change a couple of things. Oh, jeez. I did change just setup a little bit. I know I started this live stream very spontaneously. So whoever gets it, gets it. Whoever misses it, misses it. I just felt like doing another live stream and I'm feeling spontaneous today. So welcome to today's live stream. It's been a long time since we've last seen each other. I took a little break from live streams, as some of you might know from my recent video that I put out. I said that I'm going to be doing so rather irregularly, aka without a particular announcement, because I just generally feel like not putting myself under pressure to do live streams, you know, whenever the flow is there. Or not whenever the flow is there, like whenever I feel right, I'll just do it, you know. When life situations happen, I tend to wanna just take a little bit of a break from live streaming. So yeah, today we're back, and my plan is to do so as regularly as possible, you know? Not like every Sunday, every Monday, but more like, okay, let's try to get it like once or twice a week. Today's a good day, so let's schedule that in. And today's one of those days, so maybe I'll do another one next Monday. Let's see. Yeah, that's that. In the background, you hear the Digitakt. So I think you should be able to see my workstation now. We're using Ableton Live Beta 12.1. So this is the new version of Ableton Live, and there's a couple of updates in this thing that are just holy moly. Like, I didn't think they would ever put this in Ableton Live, to be honest. Really freaking great. But before I dive into Ableton 12.1 here, well, what's up, Northern Solace, man? Nice to have you in the chat. Yeah, before we get into the nitty gritty, I just want to, speak about a couple of things. Starting off with the studio setup, I minimized it a bit, and man, I didn't think that would spark my creativity. Like, I've been feeling inspired and very overwhelmed by the fact that I just had all of these drum machines, synthesizers, MIDI controllers, Ableton Push controller, and I wasn't really using them to their full potential. So recently I just made the choice to minimize the setup and really include only that which I use primarily. And I've taken away the push, I put it here. Now I'm using that with my laptop. I don't know if you guys can see it, because my laptop doesn't have a MIDI keyboard connected to it, and having the push as a controller is really, really powerful. So whenever I feel like making music with just like 1 or 2 plugins, because I don't have a lot installed here, I make music over there, and I sit myself in like the living room or the kitchen, not kitchen, kitchen, but I just sit myself somewhere else, and it's a vibe. It's actually a vibe, like not sitting where you usually work, just going on the couch or in the garden or whatever, making music there. Oof, so much fun, man. I think that's also one of the reasons why they made Ableton Push 3 standalone, because of the fact that you can just take it, go elsewhere, get back to the DAW and produce or turn that idea that you've started somewhere else into a full track. And the pattern that you're hearing now, the Digitakt right here, this is a pattern. It actually came about from me taking the time to just jam on this thing. I deliberately took time off out of my DAW to really get into the programming and to get to know my synth, or to get to know my drum computer. And this, I have to say, it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to just, dive deep into a particular aspect of my gear, instead of trying to always use it on the go in the DAW. It's really stressful. It's really been stressing me out, and I didn't know it was causing so much stress until I realized, man, I need to reduce all the gear that I have lying around here, and uninstall a couple plugins too, and really dive into my gear. And, you know, cleaning out the room as well, having a fresh space. It really helps to spark your creativity. I never thought that would be the case, but yeah, it feels good for sure. And today I feel like creating some kind of a house track using Ableton Live 12.1, going through a couple of the features that are new, because I really, really enjoy this update and I like what they've done. So I guess let's just hop in. Maybe along the way, I'll talk about a couple things that I also like to talk about, but I don't want to just be chatting you guys up this stream. But just last few words. I generally feel like getting back to YouTube in a more active way. Like ever since I made that video, I think it was, where is it? This is the video now. This one over here, a few things need to change. I feel like I'm a lot more free in how I approach YouTube videos, because I don't feel like I'm doing this with a particular schedule in mind or the need to be perfect each time, because I'm a perfectionist, man. I really struggle with perfectionism. Like when I create a YouTube video, I want to make sure it's really planned out and the recording process works as smoothly as possible. And when I get into editing the video, I want it to be really short, tedious, concise, and, you know, all these thoughts that come up, they actually make me want to make music less and make YouTube videos less. So I just thought to myself, man, how about we remove a couple of these responsibilities that are causing me stress? Like I took away the Discord community. I didn't feel like managing it anymore. I publicly announced that I'm not going to be making videos or live streams with a particular schedule. So we got a couple of the responsibilities checked off the list. And now, what is it that I really want to make a video about? Like, what is it that I am so interested in? And I went through my list. Like, I have a list on my cell phone. Whenever I get an idea spontaneously pop up in my mind, or by accident I produce something that sounds cool, I always write it down. And in that moment, I really want to share that idea. But then I'm like, maybe this video won't be well received by the beginners who watch my stuff. Maybe it'll be too overwhelming. If I start making videos on my drum machines, then probably certain people that watch my content from Max for Live devices won't watch it. You know, you have all these different thoughts that come to mind that ultimately cause resistance and that make it hard for you to continue putting yourself out there. And for me personally, just put yourself out there. This is the reason why I also started the YouTube channel, because I was willing enough to just put myself out there no matter how I felt. And especially with, you know, life situation, etc., that has pulled me back a bit from YouTube. And honestly, that's made me kind of depressed. Like, I dialed down severely on the output for Soundpack's YouTube channel, while still being very involved with, you know, emails, customer support, life situation, stress. And I just felt like, dude, why am I doing this? You know? And what helped me kind of get back into that rhythm is just put yourself out there. Stop making it so hard for yourself. Just do it. Just do it, dude. Delete all fucking thoughts and just make music. Go through your list that you wrote down and just do it. Some people are going to like it. Some people won't like it. You might get a lot of views. You might get 0 views. Just do it. Literally. Okay, guys. Holy moly. I needed to speak about that. We got a couple comments coming in. French girlfriends, broda. First time catching you live. Love your stuff. Love the stuff you did with PML and everything you do, basically. Thank you so much, man. Mason James, what's up, man? Nice to have you here. Hey, dude, hope you're good. Thank you. I am good. Hope you are doing good, too. Saint Noise, hi. What's up, man? You got make for you and people will watch. Yeah, absolutely, Mason. You got to make content and music for you, and people will naturally gravitate towards that. You know, following trends might make you popular now, but in the long term or long run, it's gonna burn you out, and you're not gonna feel like doing it after a certain point. So don't follow trends, is my opinion. If you want to, sure, go ahead, but do whatever you feel like doing. Honestly, at the end, it just comes down to that. All right, guys, that's really enough talk now. Let's go through the features here. So first of all, Ableton Live 12.1. It has this new auto tag feature over here, which is holy sheesh. It's really good. It's really good because, you know, you remember all of these tags that you could set here. Why is there noise in this session, by the way? Where is it coming from? Somehow I'm getting noise. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe the master channel? Let me fix this really quick, guys. It's coming from the synths channel. Okay. Sub 37. Let's delete it. Gotcha. All right. So you have all of these tags, and imagine going through your entire sample library and tagging stuff. That would take ages, and it would be really tedious. Now Ableton Live has this little eye icon that you can open up, which creates tags for your sample library automatically. So if you want to look for a guitar one shot, you go guitar one shot sample, and it searches you sounds that Ableton Live thinks comes close to or is a guitar one shot. And this works kind of well for percussion loops and hi-hats, stuff like that. So let's go for loop hi-hat. And you see right now I'm just in one particular folder, which is Lotus Tunes. So these are the sample packs on Lotus Tunes. I could go to samples and do the same thing. So I could just go for loops and maybe hi-hat. Or I could go through all my stuff here, again, loop, and perhaps this time I want to have some kind of a percussion loop here. Awesome. And maybe I might further down or narrow down the filtering by going into wood. So I get some kind of rim shot action here. Freaking amazing. I didn't think they would implement this in the next update. There was a lot of people who were complaining about the fact that there isn't an auto tag feature despite having sample similarity swap and sample similarity search, which is kind of like a automatic filtering system in and of itself. Why not have auto tag? And the fact that they enabled this, and they look at all the freaking options that you get now with the auto tag. Like you could go A minor and it searches for stuff that's in A minor. Let's go for samples. So let's see. Okay, not entirely right. So I'm not sure if they'll change that. Oh no, excuse me. Minor, A minor. Yeah, there we go. Now A sharp, minor. Can we not select? Oh yeah, if you hit command, then you can select two at once. So like, go for D minor, D sharp, minor. Nothing here. Okay. Not sure if this is working properly. Is it? Yeah. So apparently you can't select the note and minor at the same time without it working properly. But other than that, it works quite well. Like you're getting a lot of different filters and tags that you can choose from. And this also works for plugins. They've enabled this for plugins too. But yeah, what else is it that I wanted to speak about? We have the Auto Shift plugin, which I think is the one that most of the people are talking about. It's the Auto-Tune version of Ableton Live. So Ableton Live coming up with their new Auto-Tune plugin. Auto Shift. And what this does is it basically just tunes whatever's coming in to a particular scale the same way Auto-Tune would do. And if you know T-Pain and that typical Auto-Tune effect, then you might be very familiar with the sound. And if you've tuned into my live streams before, you know that I use this plugin by Waves all the time, which is called, what was it called again? The Waves thingy? pitch. I think it was something with pitch. Jeez, it's not pitch. Waves tune real time. Yeah. I would always use this plugin, but we seem to have that in the box now. This doesn't seem to add any latency. I just realized that it doesn't add latency, so there's not really a problem. This plugin does add a ton of latency if it's not in live mode. If you have live mode enabled, it also goes to 0 latency. You can see that in the bottom left corner here. So nice to have, definitely. I'm not sure if it's going to completely replace my Waves tune. It does offer a couple functions that Waves tune doesn't have, like the LFO and modulation section, which is kind of a classic for Ableton Live, having like this extra mod matrix thing here. It has a MIDI input as well, which is kind of cool. What I do like about this, though, is that it has the reference tone. So it would be kind of practical to have that built in here, but it's just like a minor thing of mine that I've been used to. We're getting a couple comments here. Can I read them first? I can only agree. Hi, love your content. Hi, Rich. Thank you so much. We'll buy 2 packs from you tonight. Want to support you, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. Thanks so much, Northern Solace, man. Cheers. Focus on what you love the most, says Saint Noise, and success will follow you naturally. Your dedication, passion for your work have greatly inspired me. Thank you so much, man. I follow your YouTube channel because I enjoy watching your work. That's so nice to hear. On projects, each video reveals new tips and techniques, and I also love seeing your creative process unfold. That is so nice to hear, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, yeah, where were we? We do get a couple, like it's very similar in its function. You get the correction, which is basically the dry wet here. You have the formant here, which we don't have in this particular plugin. You don't get formant shifting. Other than this button, you just get to enable or disable formant correcting. Formant is like if you sing a higher note, you'll sound like a chipmunk, and if you sing a lower note, you'll sound like a Shrek or something like that. So the formant adapts. That was probably the weirdest explanation. That's the weirdest explanation ever. But it adapts the tone of your voice. Maybe I can explain that later. Smoothing is, I would say, the note transition. So smooth is like how quickly it reacts. So if you have like 0 milliseconds and no smoothing, you'll sound like T-Pain. If you have smoothing and you create a bit of time, it won't, like the auto-tune won't grab your voice instantaneously. It'll kind of smoothly adjust the pitch, giving you less correction, of course, but it sounds less noticeable. And for those of us who are like in this genre, we want it to sound less noticeable. If you're like in hip hop, rap, trap, and that kind of stuff, you might want to make it noticeable. So put smooth off, 0 milliseconds, you know. Strength is the same as speed. I would say it's kind of the same thing. You can see that they took reference to this plugin a bit. Like it does look quite similar. But I feel like this is more of an audio processing unit. If there's one thing that I would say makes this different compared to the Waves tune, is that it feels like an actual audio effect that you can not only use on your vocals but other instruments. And like the bombastic thing about this is the scale lock. It has scale awareness, which is holy moly. Like you can adapt it to the scale that you've set it to. For example, if you go D Phrygian, it automatically adapts it to D Phrygian if you enable that here. And you can also see which notes are enabled. And that is kind of practical to have that, you know, and you get to additionally shift the notes by scale degrees, SD. So I could just pitch it up 3 scale degrees and it'll stay in tune to the scale. I can't do that with the normal auto tune. If I would pitch everything up here 3 halftone steps, it would sound whack because it would take all the notes and basically put them off scale. With this, it stays in scale, and this is primarily the reason why I will be switching to this thing rather than Waves 2 in real time. There are a couple people in the forum on the Center Code site, which is like the beta community forum, that are not so satisfied with the way how this live mode sounds. They say that it sounds a bit glitchy and doesn't react so well. So let's see if Ableton Live makes any updates on this. But I'm really curious to see how it works. I don't know. I've never put my voice through it, to be honest. Let's see if this works. So I got my vocal mic here. Let me mute it from OBS. Test, test, test. Oh, voila. So let's put it to C minor. Ooh, that's the C. We are now in the scale of C. C. We are now in the scale of C. We are now. Okay, so we could create a chain. We can now create a chain using C. Duplicate this. +2 SD. I sound like a robot. Yeah. And go 1, 2. Or, you know, let's go 5. Oops. Oops. Blit. +5. What? This is so cool. You. What the frick? So dope. Let's go. +7. So we got third layer on. Well, you can really create chords this way. You can. We might go mid, high. Set the format high. Whoa. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty freaking cool. You can see that it pitches the notes according to the scale. So we're getting one layer that is in C. It outputs everything in C. Another layer that outputs everything 5 scale degrees higher, which means that it's still in the scale of C minor, but just pitched up 5 scale degrees. So if I were to illustrate that on a MIDI clip, scale degrees would look something like this. So this would be C. 5 scale degrees would be 1. Pay attention to the highlighted notes here. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's basically pitching everything up to A flat while still keeping everything in the C minor scale. It's kind of difficult for me to explain, but it's not the same as 5 halftone steps. If I turn it off, you see this. Oh no, never mind. It stays on ST, but it's well illustrated with the pitch MIDI effect. Here, you see it right now. I'm pitching it up 1 halftone step, 3 halftone steps, 5, 6, 7. If I scale lock it, it turns into scale degrees. So pitching it up 1 scale degree is not the same as pitching it up as 1 halftone step. It pitches it up 1 note above, but including it in the scale still. So the difference would be 1 halftone step is this. Wait, give me a second here. This is 1 halftone step. But 1 scale degree is this. It jumps to the next highlighted note that's within the scale. you know? And having it do that in real time with some kind of an auto shift plugin like this is, I would say it's pretty insane. You can get some really, you can turn your voice into some kind of chord. Yeah. What's up, Marco, man? Nice to have you in the chat. Nirmal, how are you? I'm doing great. Thanks to have you here. Great to have you here, man. Can you show us a vocal sample? Yeah, I think I just did. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Dopsky, what's up, man? We got Saika, nice. I can sing. Cool. Fire. Yeah, auto shift is hype. It is cool. It's the 5th in the scale rather than the 5th halftone step up. Yeah, exactly, Mason. That is correct. All right. Giving you more of a tour today rather than doing a track from scratch, but I think it's a vibe. I'm vibing with it for sure. So next thing, I am still rather skeptical about this, the drum sampler. I like its features, but I don't like where it's currently at and how Ableton Live is advertising it, and I'll show you why. According to their site here, and I'm going to jump to their site. Drum sampler here. Drum sampler is a new instrument tailored to playing back one-shot samples in the context of drum racks. So it's meant to be used inside drum rack. It includes essential sample playing features such as sample start and length, AHD, so attack, hold, and decay, as you can see here. No ADSR. Transpose and detune controls, and a filter section with playback effects which allow time stretch, loop samples, blah blah, frequency modulation, ring modulation. That's also really cool, by the way. Frequency modulation, sub oscillator, awesome, add punch or degrade the sound. Cool. That all sounds nice. They even say, okay, look, this is a drum rack. You can put the drum sampler here and you can use it as your default pad, save as default pad. So I tried that and I was like, dude, we're missing some features here. And this is still the beta. They're still changing it. And I checked the beta forum and a lot of people want to have a lot of pretty essential functions to be included. Are like, dude, what the heck? And I'll show you in a second why. So drum sampler. Let's load that up here. Let's put it into a MIDI track first before chucking it into an actual drum rack. So this is how it looks like. It's meant to replace the simpler. As far as I understand, it's meant to make it really simple. First thing I noticed, there's no filter drive. There's no OSR and all the other filter modes. And I personally think, okay, these are quite essential. Like, I like to have them. But then again, drum sampler, they want to make it simpler. They probably should have called it drum simpler. If they want to minimize it a bit, but I feel like taking away the drive options in the filters, I don't know, not the best thing. Like, you're adding these cool things, but you're taking away filter drive. I don't know. If we compare that with simpler, if you go into the controls of simpler, you have the additional option to, where was it? Filter here. Right now it's set to clean, but OSR gives you this additional drive option, has a different characteristic. I think this is modeled after analog synths or hardware gear, SMP, PRD. These are like filter drive modes, which can give your sound a bit more character. And each and every single one of these drive modes has also different resonance. Like, if you turn up the resonance all the way, you hear that on different modes, it sounds a bit different. Some sound a bit more intense, some sound less intense. And why this is important, because I think it has potential to really give your sample some character. And I know why they take that out. Okay, sure. But another thing is this panel down here. This XY panel is kind of cool. I like XY panels in general, but if it were for me, I personally would have liked to apply multiple of these effects in one instance. Like, how am I supposed to access ring modulation if I have FM already enabled? Like, I can't duplicate this layer and add another effect. Well, I could potentially, but that would take away the whole point of using it as like a minimized simple device. you know, because their advertising is this as this device is simple, this device is minimized. But yeah, I'm not sure if I like it where it is right now. Like, I wouldn't replace it for simpler. I would still use simpler. I'll give you a rundown over these couple modes in a second. But also another thing is you have no release. I'm okay with not having sustain, but no release, dude? This is AHD without the S and the R. Normally it's ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release, the essential parameters for creating, like, shaping your sound. Hold is a like in-between type thing between attack and decay. Not so important in my opinion. But release, dude, like whenever you let go of the note, how it interacts with you then, leaving that out, I still don't understand. Maybe they were constrained to just this interface here. So they were like, where can we take away? We shall take away the most important thing. Screw the release. Screw the freaking filter drives. Why? Why? I don't know. I'm not hating on Ableton Live. I love them. I love them so much. And I love the fact that they have this auto tag and the auto filter. Fantastic, fantastic updates. Like, I have the feeling that they're listening to the community. But on the other hand, I feel like, dude, what's the fuck? What's the fuck? I feel like nobody really asked for this. It's a nice to have type thing. It doesn't really replace simpler, in my opinion. It's a creative effect, and it's worth giving it a try, but it doesn't replace simpler. And here's the thing: you can't hot swap samples in the drum sampler. Like, if you load up a sample, let's load up any type of sample here. Let's use the auto tag feature. Maybe we can find a sample this way. Loop sample. Sure, let's put a string sound here. I do not really care. A freaking Chicago house. Or maybe I should load up a drum sound. I think that would make a bit more sense using that with drum sampler here. Let's put it on the drum rack. Let's put it on the drum rack because I did want you to see this. So let's put the drum sampler on the drum rack the way Ableton Live describes it to be. So here they say, it's meant to be used in the context of, where is it? In the context of drum racks. Drum sampler is a new instrument for one-shot samples in the context of drum racks, and it's meant to be used as the default pad within the drum rack. So I go into the default pad, I'm like, okay, let's put instead of a sampler here, so when I automatically load up a sample from one of my packs, this is how it usually looks like. I put it here, it automatically converts it to the simpler. It uses the one-shot classic mode, simpler. Cool. And now I get to play it if I play the according pad on the drum rack. Now, what Ableton Live wants you to do is just use the drum sampler preloaded in your default pads here. So the way you do it is right-click default pad. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to replace the simpler now. And by the way, if you save this as a default pad and you want to revert back to the simpler, you would have to search up the simpler, put it in one of your pads, and then save this back as default pad. Like, there's no way to undo it. And simpler, you can change to a sampler, which is fantastic. So if you want more controls, just change it to a sampler. You can't freaking do that with drum rack or drum sampler. You can't do it. You're stuck to drum sampler. It would have been cool to potentially get the option to convert this to simpler or convert this to sampler. And another whack thing, if I turn on sample similarity swap, I get to swap the samples here. Like, look, I can sample or I can swap through my library for sounds that sound similar. Why is that disabled for drum sampler? if you want people to use the drum sampler as a default pad in your drum rack, why disable a function that makes drum rack with simpler much more convenient? This I cannot understand, and they've put out multiple updates in the meantime where it's possible, or they've put out multiple updates in the meantime. Let me close my door 1 sec, guys. Without having this changed. And I'm starting to get a little skeptical if whether or not they'll add it. Maybe they don't want it to be used this way, like with the hot swap. Maybe they're like, no, if you use it once, then you stick to the sound. It's supposed to be simple device. But that would be whack. Like, that would be freaking whack. Because the sampler, look, the sampler you can't hot swap. The only thing that you can hot swap is the simpler. Like, the only thing that you can hot swap sounds. So imagine you create an entire drum kit, right? I'm just going to load one by default here, see if I can swap through the sounds here. Yeah, you have a kit here. Let's add some MIDI to this kit so we get to play the... Oh, that's a nice kit, dude. I need to use that. Just as an example here, okay? Let's say you want to filter through sounds and you want to generate a new kit. Click Sample Similarity Swap. Different kick, please. Okay, this sounds cool, for instance, yeah? Alles gut, danke. Die im Flur, die Geräusche, die stören eher, wenn sie hier rein und rauslaufen. Kannst du eigentlich auflassen, die Tür, ist kein Problem, nur Achso, okay. Na gut, dann lass es mal auf. Kannst du auflassen, ist okay. You can scroll through the entire kit by using this button over here. So it goes through your entire kit. Okay, these sounds sound absolutely terrible, but I'm just demonstrating for the purpose here. What was this? What kind of a waveform is this, dude? It's like basic shapes. Thinks it's a kick or something. Okay. But you can come up with really interesting song ideas this way, and I actually made an entire video about this. But if you use drum sampler, that is unfortunately not possible anymore. So why the frick should I use drum sampler with my drum rack if I don't get this function? Like, excuse me, but no. Maybe I don't want to use it with sample similarity swap. Some people might prefer the effects that are from drum sampler, but not me. I'd much rather have this function. And they've implemented this in Live 12. Why should I not be able to have a function in Live 12 with a new update of Live 12? Doesn't make sense. Let's see how that develops. But I don't like it. I don't like that they don't have the similarity swap or hot swap. Here, hot swap. All right, if I'm playing a groove, hot swap, double click, different kick. Double click, different kick. That's the power of hot swap. Why take that out? Why? Doesn't make sense to me. You have the ability to code that in my opinion. I think it's something else. Let's see. Man, the Digitech pattern is really cool sounding though. Yeah. Maybe I could low cut this and just add it like a higher layer or something like that. Put like a... Man, I love this plugin. The Black Box HG2. It makes the drums so fat. Like, sometimes I go really crazy with this thing and it gives me really interesting results. Really puts your drums to the front. Lovely. We got Neural Moto. What's up, man? Cheers. You think it'll be a while for the official update release? I don't know. They're already putting ads on their Insta page and stuff, so it might be coming very soon. What's up, Conduit, man? Nice to have you here. We got Mr. Ravioli. Got Welcome to the Futures. Hey, what's up? Thank you for your amazing streams, man. No worries, Mr. Ravioli. Once I get my Grammy, I will make sure to thank you big time. Get your Grammy, please, my friend. Thank you, man. What else is new? let's jump back into what's new. So we have an updated limiter with maximize function. That is dope. That is really cool. And I haven't tested it out yet. Limiter. But you get maximize. And I've always used Ozone for the maximizer. But it's good to have that in Ableton Live now. Maximizer is where you can pull down the threshold and it basically just makes the track louder this way. Also fantastic for subgrooves. Like, I'm gonna use this limiter a lot more on my subgrooves, because previously you couldn't see how much gain reduction you're getting. Previously it was just like this little yellow bar that you could just take as an estimate, but now you get like clipping options. So I'm not going to be using standard clip anymore. I think I'm going to be using this a lot more now for mastering and for just putting it on my drums and stuff. It sounds good. Yeah, really dope. Cool update. Saturator got another update as well, and I like it too. Simple interface now, far simpler. Like before, you had all this like depth control and bass and stuff that you never really understood anyway. Now you get those controls if you open up the plugin, and they are now basically converted to this EQ curve. Getting some distortion, but it's okay. I'm just showing you. Now you can set the emphasis frequency here, which is really great. And what else do we get? What else do we get? I'm not sure how to enable the wave shaper here. Like, these functions are not enabled by default. Maybe I have to put it on a certain mode. Wave shaper. So if you put it on wave shaper, you get these wave shaper controls, which basically shape your curve. And the cool thing is that you get to see what's happening in real time, but that was before also the case. Jeez. Okay. That's the Saturator update. We're getting different algorithms, and I feel like this is overlooked. Nobody spoke about this before. All the tutorials that I've mentioned, they did not mention this. You're getting different slicing modes. They replaced the slicing modes completely. So let's load up a drum loop here. If you put this on an audio track, for example, you could also do it from the browser directly, but I'm going to show it this way. Right-click, slice to new MIDI track. You're getting different slicing presets. You get default, drums gritty, drums lo-fi, drums MPE, which might be interesting if you're using an MPE controller. Low and boom, sampler zones, MPE, and vocal slices. You can still slice by transient and fourth notes, etc., but these are different. Before, you got like the pitch pong rack, carbon slicing, and I'm a bit surprised that they replaced them completely, because I did like the old ones as well. But these sound really cool. Like, these are good enough to work as a replacement for the old ones, so I'm kind of okay with this. If we put it on drums gritty, click OK, slice by transient. Takes a second to load, and it then outputs you this MIDI track. If I play, it plays the entire loop as like flawlessly with the individual slices with these effect presets here. And I kind of like them. Getting all these different modes. And I think they put this vocal slicing mode in because they realize a lot of people want to sound like Fred again. So let's demonstrate that on vocals. Put it on the Afro vocals here. Slice to new MIDI track. Slice to new MIDI track. Where is it? Slice to new MIDI track. Slicing preset. Vocal slices. Okay. Okay, let's give it a time to load here. And if we hit play on this track. Okay, it plays the vocal. We're getting a few clicks and pops in between, but that's okay. It's a vocal. We can't expect too much from it. Let's delete the MIDI clip here and play in our own. Pretty cool. And you can add grain delay, velocity, vocal room. Dope. Wrong number. Just like this filter, bandpass filter, wide detune. Ah, this is gonna be great for drum and bass producers, bass house, and that kind of genre. And maybe for dub techno as well, or the more underground genres. But if you have a drum groove playing like this, it might be interesting to automate the stereo detune for a build-up. Yeah, crazy. Like, it's pretty cool that they thought of that. And that's something nobody mentioned before. Like, I had to read through the lines to figure that out. Love that vocal, by the way. What other news do we have? Let's look. Updated Saturator. We have, yeah, these are new. Like the MIDI editing panel got a couple of new updates. I feel like it's more of an MPE type thing. We are now getting Chop, which is basically another way of editing your MIDI here. I didn't really, like, I don't really fully understand this, but it's a nice way to just take a MIDI note like this and change it, like chop it into multiple parts. Then we have LFO, which is only MPE, so we can change the pitch, the slide, the pressure. I thought this was LFO, like the full version of LFO just in this panel, and I was a bit confused at first, but then I saw it's just for pitch, slide, and pressure. And I recently figured out that you can use Diva with MPE, like you can put it into MPE mode. But not entirely sure if you still get all the functions. If you right click and enable MPE mode, let's drag this note here to the very end, open up the MPE envelope section here, and make this LFO valid for the pitch, amount. Pretty cool. Like Diva has MPE'd, guys. That's pretty crazy. So I guess you could also use it with expression control, map it to your push, and if you press on a note harder, you can get like harder pitch bends. Very nice. Love that. So cool little addition here. I don't know if it's working with slide and pressure. I haven't really tested it, but I think you get the point. Then we got Glissando, which is another. I don't think it works with Diva, but I'll make sure to test it anyway. So if you select 2 notes or multiple notes, and go back into MPE panel here, and Glissando, you can see that you can set the glide amount. And I think this is another way to replace the way you slide between keys or notes on the push. I'm not sure if I can illustrate this here. Yeah, it's hooked up here, so I can't really fully show you, but if you press the push and you slide the notes, like you're pressing on the notes and without lifting your fingers, you're sliding to another chord. I think this is the way Ableton wanted to implement that sliding feature as a MIDI tool. So now you can literally program the slide between 2 notes with this Glissando tool here. It works! It actually works! I didn't expect it to work. Let's make it quicker though. That's so cool. You're actually getting a pitch bend here. I don't have any practical use case for this. It's really interesting to see that it works with third-party VSTs like Diva as well. Having enable MPE mode is a pretty strong feature. And I didn't know this. I didn't know that it was this easy to set it up. I wonder if this works for the Arturia plugins as well. Let's see if it works with Jupiter. I'm starting to like this synth a lot. I used it in my most recent tutorial. Enable MPE mode. Oh, guys, I think I accidentally forgot to switch to my camera, yeah? I don't have the second monitor set up here anymore. So I'm not getting any direct feedback when I switch my screens because the second monitor was really annoying. I had to have like this gooseneck holding a little iPad that was set up via Bluetooth. Holy moly, it gave me so many issues during the live streams. And it just didn't look good. It looked like crap. And I took it away and I'm so much happier visually. Like imagine sitting yourself in front of your desk and you have to see this gooseneck. Each time you want to punch it. But now it's gone, so I'm really happy that it's gone. But I didn't get to show you what I just did. So I basically drew in two notes here, C and A. And I created this glissando transition between the two. Oops. Yeah, if you shift click both notes, you get this glissando control, which is like a pitch bend. And I enabled the MPE on the Diva. Now I have a Jupiter loaded here, just to see if this works. And it also works with Jupiter, dude. That's crazy. Let's see if it works like this. That's interesting. I'm not sure if it's like it isn't really going up to 16 halftone steps, but it's applying some kind of a pitch bend here. That can be cool for ear candy and short little sound designy stuff. So I might as well just, duplicate this track, freeze and flatten. So I get that rendered out as audio. And use that as like a ear candy in my track. Yeah, those pitch bends and little glidey stuff, that can be very well used with some kind of like a break sound or sound before the drop hits or whatever. Alex Moreno, share screen again. Yeah, thanks for all the alerts. Holy moly, that's a lot of red lights there, man. But I think it's smart because then I see what's going on. We got Mr. Brown Alliance. Dude, I didn't see you. Our moderator. Lotuson's Academy. Hail! Bought the newfangled Audio Elevate mastering suite. So far, so good. Oh my gosh. Mastering suite. I haven't heard of that. Sounds complicated. We got Neural Moto saying, hope we can still bring in and use custom slicing modes. I'm not sure. Custom slicing modes? I didn't know that you could create custom slicing modes, to be honest. Did you cover new global swing? Nope, because I don't really fully understand it yet. There's a new global swing option now, as it seems. Oh, and the full height browser. I don't know if you guys noticed this. You can change your browser to now go to the very bottom of your screen, which is a blessing. Right now I have my camera covering the bottom left corner, but you can see right down here, like the browser goes to the very, very bottom, which means I can open up my filter section without having to have this little tiny panel here. So I can see all my sample folders, plugin folders, in addition to the filters. And you set that by going to View, Full Height Browser, which is pretty awesome. Cool that they thought of that. There's an undo history as well. That just came to mind. And I think you enable that somewhere here. Yeah, View, undo history. And you can jump back to particular parts. Okay, it's taking a bit of time to load, but that's okay. Or I could jump back to the very last undo step here. This is amazing. This is really amazing. I can imagine it going a bit hard on the RAM. So for those of you who don't have a lot of RAM, this might cause a few spikes. I don't know. Or CPU. But other than that, it's a fantastic little feature. Thank you for implementing that, Ableton. What else do we have? Do we have any new functions? Chop MIDI tool, chopping MIDI notes, chop note operation, glissando, LFO, apply grooves instantly. Yeah, you also get scale lock on audio effects. I think they did this for the auto shift. Yeah, audio tracks have now scale lock. Previously, it was just for MIDI tracks. Apply groove instantly. This is something that I don't understand. I haven't really gotten into it yet. I think you could open up the groove pool somehow. So if we put this here, we get the groove pool. And I think this is the button. Yeah, I think this is it, actually. If I have this on, then it should apply it to any new track that I create, right? So if I have like a new audio track and I chuck in a sample here, sample, where's my samples? Like this, double click, no groove, okay. I would have to select it here. So I don't understand why it's saying apply groove automatically. Maybe I have to, maybe that's only applicable to MIDI tracks? I don't know. Am I doing something wrong? I have no idea. Yeah, it seems to be the case for MIDI tracks. Like you see, it applies the groove automatically here. Whereas if I take it away and I create a new MIDI track, MIDI clip, there is no groove applied here. But why wouldn't that also work for audio? That's something I don't understand. Like if I chuck in this and now enable the groove, put it here, double click, no groove. Like for me, the most important part about groove is using that on samples. I rarely use groove on MIDI clips. Sometimes I do, but mostly I want to use, like I can just place the note off grid in MIDI. It's more important for me to automatically have that in the sample, but yeah, little thing, right? For me, it's no problem to just click here and then click on the freaking groove. I have no problem with that. So that's kind of a minor change. Full height browser, auto tagging user content. Yeah, I've mentioned this in the beginning of the stream. You have now this auto filter and not auto filter, but Ableton Live automatically tags your samples for you. So if you go loop, bass loop, freaking amazing. And you see it does it for all of my sounds. Love that function. That's my favorite function of this entire update. I'm so happy that they did that. Then we got a couple of feature improvements, etc. Some kind of browser improvements that I'm not going to go through. Some new little mini stuff. CC control gets an update. Echo gets an update. Echo will now have smoothing. This allows just how slow or fast delay time is applied. Okay, I have not tested this. Let's see how it sounds. So let's use an echo. All echo. Okay, we have that loaded up here now. Let's see how it sounds. Character smoothing time. Okay, I'm not sure if I can hear the difference. Maybe I'll have to use that in the context with a full track. I feel like it's a minor change, but still cool that they thought of that. More of like a bug fix, I feel like. Meld has now these new phase spreading modes. Envelope follower, that looks interesting, has a new sidechain input. Tuner now supports tuning systems. Interesting. MIDI editing improvements. Release velocity now has a dedicated lane below MIDI note editor. Okay, that's more relevant. Velocity, release velocity, and chance. Okay, that is cool. Now we get these new velocity and release velocity. Or not velocity, release velocity is new. And I think you also can search. Yeah, you can search particular notes. Like if you have multiple notes drawn in, you can highlight the ones that are just in C, and it highlights you that lane, and then I guess you can delete them, right? So if you don't want any notes in C, you could just highlight them here, delete. And time, like notes that start or notes that are within a particular time range, you could highlight, search, and delete. I don't see myself using this. Cool feature though. Chance. Like notes that have a chance between 0 and 100%. Delete. Or delete. Don't see myself using that too. But it's cool that they've thought of it. A little nice to haves. A lot of nice to have features. Yeah. Then we have, what else? When editing multiple clips, the foreground clip is now indicated with an LED. That's very nice. So if you have now multiple clips like this with a lot of different MIDI notes, like this, and they're all the same color, it's kind of confusing to know which one is which. So if you shift click, you see all these blue lines indicating that you have multiple MIDI clips selected. It's hard to find out which one you have loaded up in the moment. So having that little dot here, I guess makes it a bit easier. Now, as I'm looking at it, I don't feel like it's easier, but it's supposed to make it easier. Yeah. Focus. Yeah, I forgot that we had this focus function. Excuse me. If you use focus, then it highlights you the clip that you're in. Now that I'm thinking of it, when you have focus, I don't know if this is that much of a game changer. Like what difference does that make? If you're using the same color, I don't think it makes a difference. But if you color them differently, like make them red, now it should make a difference, yeah? Ah, okay, now I see what the point is. If you have different colored clips, gives you an instant feedback here, okay? And if you're not using focus, that makes it a bit easier to understand, I guess. But it's not, it's kind of obvious the colors here. Focus mode is really great if you're working with multiple clips. I do this a lot when working with bass grooves. If you don't want bass notes to overlap, you just use this multiple clips mode. Really cool. Really, really cool. I like it. Mini feature, but why not? Another nice to have. Stacks MIDI tool. Okay, I did not read this. Custom chords. It's now possible to load user-defined chord rules. Okay, interesting. Chord banks are JSON file. Okay, cool. Recombine tool gets a few little update here. Nice to have. Tuning system. Other improvements. Pitch bend. Bug fixes. Okay, that's basically it. That's it for the functions. Did I miss anything? The drum sampler, auto shift were definitely the two greatest ones. Auto tagging features also new. And we're getting a couple updates here and so forth. So that's a rundown of all the features here. Oh, geez, sorry. Let me delete all these things here. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna keep it rather short here today because today I didn't want to create the track from scratch. Today was more of an opportunity for me to get going with these live streams again. I'll turn on some kind of, can I turn on some kind of ambient sound just to make it pleasant to listen to? Let's load Omnisphere. Why is it not showing up? Omnisphere, there we go. I think I mistyped. Go for some kind of like an ambient pad. Solo. Chord arm, double click. Let's go for C. Legato. Dial it down. And now select the pad sound from Luftraum. Oh, Bruder, I love them. Maybe not this patch, maybe Luftraum Ambient 3. Textures playable. There was this nice patch called Daybreak or something like that. Or was it in Ambient Soundscape Daybreak? This is my jam, dude. This is my jam. Add a few harmonics maybe here. Am I hearing anything? No, I'm not hearing anything. Now I'm hearing something. There we go. Let's loop this up. Pitch it down. Yeah, this is definitely my resonant frequency here. Hippies be like. I gotta find my chakra frequency. Nothing against chakras, I actually believe in them. But it's just the way some people talk about it. It's just saucy. Yeah, I'm feeling the F sharp. So, yeah. That's one way of creating your own background music. The nerdy way to create your own background music. Let's put this through some effects here. By the way, I'm really happy that they introduced a shortcut to implement effects now, or to show your return tracks, I mean. Let's duplicate this layer. Pitch an octave above. Yeah. I love ambient soundscapes so much. I love ambient soundscapes so much. You can put drum grooves aside, you can put anything aside. I love ambient soundscapes so much. They go straight into my soul. They go straight into my heart. I love them so. Like, you could sell me anything. If there is a way to create soundscapes in it, I'm in instantly. Besides the new Cubase plugin, the Extreme, I tested it out. I got a couple people messaging me via email like, you should test the Extreme plugin by Cubase, by Steinberg. I mean, I didn't like it, and I'm not hating on them because they're a great company. It's just that I feel like, I don't know, it wasn't more convenient to use than Granulator or other like granular plugins that there are out there. A lot of people are realizing the potential of granular synthesis right now, especially with the Granulator 3 update and the Torso Electronics S4 sculpting sampler. Man, people are waking up to the power of granular synthesis for sure. And I think Steinberg was trying to catch up on that a bit with the new, like the free version of the plugin, but you have to install like their Halion plugin window, which doesn't have a rescalable UI. So it covers basically 90% of my screen. I couldn't figure out a way to make it smaller. That was annoying. Also, you have to install the Hub software, which automatically adds itself as a login item, a background item. So you have all these different processes working in the background, which I don't want. Like if I get a plugin, I'll rather pay for it and just have it in my DAW as a VST or AU or whatever, rather than having all these freaking installers. So that's my opinion on X Stretch or whatever it's called. Didn't really dive deep into it because I just uninstalled it after a few minutes. Sorry, Steinberg. Sorry. But definitely not my jam. I don't know. Halion Sonic, I still have to uninstall it. Yeah, you get like this Halion thingy. I thought I uninstalled it. Please don't crash. Dude, if you make my DOS crash now, I'm never trusting you again. Okay. Okay, for some reason it's still installed here. You see what I mean? Like, what the frick is this UI? What is this? Why can't I make it smaller? There's no way to make it smaller. I went into options, I tried everything. And the presets sound kind of, it's okay. Like, maybe with a bit of tweaking you could get an interesting sound, but I don't know. Thought I uninstalled it, man. What the heck? Why is it still there? Okay, I'll check it. But yeah. Today was a fun live stream. Oh, I forgot to switch my camera again. Yeah, guys, this is how it looks like. This is how Extreme looks like. The UI is overscaled as frick. Like, what is this? Way too large. No resize option. Why? Like, I would have to change the display settings on my monitor to make this smaller, but I don't want that because everything else changes then. Nah, yeah, okay. Worst VST you bought? I don't like the VSTs that come with installers. UVI Percussion Factory is an exception. I love the sounds there, but it does come with their UVI hub thingy. Worst VST plugin? Right now, Steinberg. Even creates 2 categories. Why do I need 2 categories here? What the heck? Yeah, I'm not a fan of the way this works. Giving me a free plugin and totally messing up everything here. Worst? I wouldn't say worst. There isn't worst. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. Dawson makes awesome stuff. Electron makes awesome stuff. Ill-formed. Kazrog. And these are, by the way, just my opinions, you know? Maybe for somebody else it's amazing. For me, not so much. Yeah, I can't say there's a plugin that's like the worst. No screen? Why no screen? You should be able to see my screen, man. Xstream sounds cool, but I wouldn't download it. It says Eren. I don't want to listen to all the other things. Granular is so good, but it's overrated. Resynthesis is more powerful. Resynthesis. You mean like physical modeling type thing or what? I don't know. Did you sing in auto-tune, auto-shift it? Yes, I did Conduit at the very beginning. Clemente Eber says you can also extract grooves from loops. Yeah, you can. You can use grooves on loops. It would be cool to have the same feature that FL AI stem separation. Yeah, AI stem separation is kind of cool, but there's also browser like Lalalai and stuff like that, which has the function already implemented also. Oh, I'm so happy I still got a Regroover license. Regroover is from a plugin called Accusonus that closed down. It's a plugin that does stem separation as a VST, and it's not available on the market anymore. And this was a thing before AI was a thing. Like way before AI was a thing, this was already released. And they closed down because Facebook bought them. Facebook purchased Accusonus, and now Accusonus makes like voice isolation AI type stuff for Facebook, aka Meta. Those freaking sellouts, man. Those freaking sellouts. They got a really good deal. But ever since then, they left in these licenses for the people that were still using them and completely shut down their site. I think there's still some cracked versions of this plugin online, but it's stem separation, and it works surprisingly well on grooves and stuff. So let's load a clip here. Please select the audio that is 30 seconds long. Okay, blah, blah. Sure. So we got to drag a shorter clip. 1 bar. Let's take 2 bars, consolidate that clip, and see if we can re-import it. And go like this. Yeah, now it should work. Okay. So let's mute this. Yeah. This is the entire loop without artifacts. It sounds like the original. Now I get to hear just the shaker. You hear some artifacts here, but it's not really important because you get to identify the elements. This loop alone is so freaking awesome. Like I see how the tom groove is playing. And guys, I think there's like, is it ethical to crack a plugin from a developer that has already closed its site down and has given away their stuff practically for free anyway? Like, is it ethical to crack a plugin then? I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. I think there's a couple crack versions of Regroover Pro still running out there. I would be careful with installing cracks because of the viruses and shit. And shite. Excuse me. But yeah, you can just take a clip and drag it out into your DAW. You should be able to do it somehow. I'm not sure. Yeah, this button over here basically converts that to a stem. And you get this. But something that I would use is like this. Wait. Yeah, I would take this, for example, put it onto a new audio track. Maybe use this with a resonator or something like that. Resonator. Yeah, it's a groove. Use it with Tantra too. Filter modulation. Yeah, that's where I see an advantage for stem separation inside a DAW. Don't have to put it into some other software. But yeah, maybe somebody will still find an alternative to this. I think there's going to be a lot more coming soon. Stem separation inside a DAW. I see a lot of use for that. Granular is good, but it's overrated. We already had those. My worst, black hole. Just didn't understand it. Get into it. Lotus Tunes best deal to date. Oh, thank you so much for posting the site, man. Thank you. Black hole is actually one of my favorites, man. I'm sorry to disappoint you in that sense, but this is my most used reverb. I love the sound of it. I really love it. Yeah, I don't know. I do like it. Valhalla Superplate is also a cool substitution for that. But I really am a fan of it. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it at this point. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really glad that you joined in. If there's like one final thing that I'd like to say is that if you're looking forward to creating something, create it. Just do it anyway. Because I myself have been struggling a lot with the fact that, you know, life is going on, you have a schedule, you have stuff to do, and because of that, you can't act out on your purpose or the thing that you genuinely love doing. Do it anyway. Do it anyway, even if it might not end up being perfect, or even if it's going to be hard to get back into it and you don't feel inspired, you feel down, whatever. Start it anyway, or at least prepare for when you feel inspired, because it always gets you, not always, but it often gets you back into that inspirational flow state. Yeah. That's just my tip of the week. That's how I've been feeling recently. I've been feeling kind of down a lot because I haven't posted as regularly, and I haven't been doing a lot of these live streams, which I'm gonna be honest, like I usually love doing, but I haven't been doing them as much because of all the stuff that's been going on with the personal life. But yeah, now I'm slowly getting back into it. And I thought I wouldn't be able to afford to get back into it so quickly. But the more I'm actually getting back into it, the more I'm enjoying it. I'm going to be very loose with uploads, very loose with video live streams or whatever. I'm not going to force myself to do anything. There's no force involved. But there is some level of discipline and, you know, just get started involved. And I love comfort. I love comfort. I love chilling. I love scrolling through Instagram for hours. I'm that type of person. But prolonged for too long, you're gonna get some pretty annoyingly, I wouldn't say depressive symptoms, but you're gonna start to feel anxious, like, but I'm a musician. I need to make music, and I haven't done music. But if I start making music, I'll feel like it's not good enough. I'm not in the mood to make a YouTube video. Just sit down and start. Sit down and start and see where you go, man. Really important. And if you still don't feel like it, maybe go outside, go for a workout or something else. And this is me speaking literally to myself right here, or to my, I don't know, future generations watching this video. This is the tip that I would have loved to have when I were younger, you know? So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's live stream. I'll see you in the next one. And love y'all. Have a nice start into the week, or nice rest of week. Bye-bye. Cheers.